Hey guys, so today I am installing this rear seat recline kit in my 2012 JK Unlimited. I will say out of the box I'm not too confident that this is going to give me much of a lift. This thickness of this thing, it's about 3/8 of an inch thick. So anyway, I'm not real confident that I'm going to get 2.5 inches of recline as advertised. Now, I will say the quality of the material says it's made in the USA. It is a hard plastic. Seems very durable. It did come with a number of bolts here. I have 7 different bolts and washers. They look like they're maybe a grade 8 bolt. I'm not quite sure, but anyway, I did buy these on eBay, I will admit to that, and it was only about $35, and shipping came extremely fast. I would order this and had it like 2 days later. So I'll put a link in the description of where I bought this from, and I'm going to go ahead and install this on the Jeep now, and we're going to see how much of an incline I'm going to get. Okay, so I've moved over to the passenger side of the seat. I've already removed the 4 bolts that go in. One right there, one behind that bracket there. Can't quite see it on camera. You see the hole right there. There's one that goes in there behind the floor mat. Actually, let me move the floor mat so you can see that. Okay, that's better. So we got that hole, and then the 2 in the back. And then you gotta undo the bolts in the very back as well. And then I just lift this bottom of the seat up and secured it in place with the seat belt. I will say that these bolts in the very back were very, very tight, and I had to use a breaker bar and an 18mm socket to get those up. Alright, so we're going to start with the back ones first. It's the little skinny one that goes just underneath here. I'm going to have to put the camera down. I'm going to shove that under there and then do the other side. And then these larger ones here, very simply just go in line like that. So the seat recline kit came from, it looks like Ohio Diesel Parts. These are the instructions that it came with. They're pretty descriptive. It even gives you the torque spec for 56 foot-pounds and using 19mm socket. Tells you that the tools are required, shows you where everything's going to go. Says it's made in the USA. Okay guys, so I wanted to try to make this experience about as scientific as I possibly could get. And I wanted to see if I could get 2.5 inches of recline out of this seat. Here on this headrest, this is the rear seat here, there's a stitch that runs across the headrest hip here. So what I did is I ran my tape measure from the top of that stitch in the rear to the top of the stitch in this seat here. So when I did that, I came up originally, the original measurement was about 30 1/4 from stitch to stitch. Now I am about 32, we're going to call it 32 3/4. So, that being said, it looks as though I did obtain 2.5 inches of recline. So I have to admit, when I purchased this kit, I was expecting to receive 2.5 inches of recline to the back of the seat here, but that wasn't the case. And I originally measured from the back of the seat to this seam here, and the difference between the measurement before and after was only 1.5 inches. So I only gained 1.5 inches to the back of the seat recline, and again I gained 2.5 inches to the top of the headrest. So if you think you're going to get 2.5 inches to the back of the seat, don't buy the kit because you'll be disappointed. Tools go to remove the rear bolts. To get these bolts off under the seat, I had to use a breaker bar. This is a 24-inch long breaker bar. And then you're going to use an 18mm socket. I would recommend a swivel head socket. So I used both of those. Probably going to need a little stubby extension, maybe even a longer one depending on your needs. And then to install the existing bolts are 18mm. To install the new bolts, they're 19mm. And again, swivel socket comes in handy. I did use an impact wrench to remove the bolts. However, I could not get them broke loose with this. I had to use the breaker bar. If you don't have an impact wrench, you can use an impact driver, which also comes in handy. If you don't have that, obviously you're going to have to use a standard 1/2-inch ratchet. So that's pretty much it. That's just, you don't need all of these tools. You will need at the very least, the breaker bar, and then an extension, and then a swivel. I would highly recommend a swivel socket. You don't necessarily need these sockets if you're going to use these. So at the very least, I would say those are the tools you're going to need. Other than that, the install is really simple. It took me maybe 20 minutes, and the hardest part was just removing the existing bolts. So that's pretty much it for my video. I know it wasn't necessarily an installation video, but it's pretty straightforward. I just basically wanted to showcase what you're going to get out of this kit and how much recline you're actually going to get. So for $33, I think it was worth it. I don't necessarily think there's any reason to spend $65 on a more expensive kit when this thing had all the bolts and washers and all the hardware necessary. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. God bless.